Jalen Brunson is the hottest guy in basketball right now because he's got both NBA players and legends talking about him. And everyone is trying to figure out how a 6'2" guard was able to break a 53-year jinx in New York. As for former teammate Luka Doncic, it's all down to his winning mentality. But different people have different beliefs on the best skill that makes him scary.
We always talk about guys who went to Villanova. That's one thing they're going to have, and that's great footwork.
Yeah.
You're never going to be off balance.
Because if you measure Jalen Brunson's heart, he's taller than Wemby, and he showed you every time.
Jalen Brunson doesn't look scary, but guarding him has been a total nightmare. And here's what the best NBA players and Hall of Famers believe makes him scary.
What we will say is off timing.
Yeah.
Or if you're guarding him, you can't time it because you don't know when he's going.
It's not natural.
Yeah, it's not natural. Like he goes and then he just kind of tosses it up there.
Boom, boom, instead of boom.
Yeah, exactly. So now you know. Yeah, exactly.
Here, King James believes that Jalen is different because while most great scorers beat defenders with quickness, Brunson does it by making them hesitate. Now, this is a man who has spent more than 2 decades studying some of the greatest scorers ever. LeBron has had to guard Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Stephen Curry. Think you've got an edge on what's coming next? We are partnering with Kalshi, and they turn your predictions into possibilities. It's the first CFTC-regulated exchange where you can trade yes-no event contracts on real-world questions. From inflation to major legislation to the next big breakout in entertainment. Like, if you wanted to trade for who will win the NBA championship next season, first create an account, enter your birthday, and complete the sign-up. Then open Kalshi, click 2027 Pro Basketball Champion, and pick the San Antonio Spurs. Add dollar amount, and if the Spurs win the championship in 2027, you'll get paid. Cause we all know Wemby is going back to the lab this summer, coming back with something new added to his arsenal. He's going to be even better and more motivated next year carrying the Spurs, and even add an MVP to that case. And if it weren't for that one play, who knows what the outcome for the Spurs would have been. Cause we know everyone has something they follow closely, whether it's markets, sports, politics, or pop culture. You do the research, you follow the trends, you trust your instincts. Kalshi gives you a way to put that knowledge to work. Let's say you're convinced the Fed will raise rates, or you've got a gut feeling that the New York Knicks will repeat as champs. On Kalshi, you can trade on those insights, turning your opinions into outcomes. And just like the NBA brings that tip-off to buzzer-beater intensity, Kalshi brings that same thrill to your insight. You're not sitting on the sidelines with an opinion, you're in the game. Over 1 million users have already joined with more than $2 billion traded. These are real money markets where people like you are trading on what they believe will happen. And here's what makes Kalshi stand out. It even pays interest on long-term positions, meaning you can earn while you wait for an outcome to play out. Join Kalshi, the marketplace for people who don't just cheer from the stands, they trade what's next. Your prediction, your contract, your move. Head to Kalshi.com/hoopers and get $20 when you trade $20. Turn your "I've got a feeling" into action today. A huge shout out to Kalshi for partnering with us. Let me know in the comments what you traded and if you think your trade can win. And he thinks the scary thing about Brunson's release is that defenders never know exactly when it's coming. Most players gather, rise up, and shoot in a predictable rhythm. Brunson doesn't. Sometimes he pauses, sometimes he leans, sometimes it almost looks like he's simply tossing the ball toward the rim. And by the time defenders realize he's shooting, the ball is already in the air. However, there's another thing LeBron sees as the key to everything.
I think being a lefty too, when you're that dynamic, it just gives the defense and the defender a little bit more of a headache.
Brunson's former teammate Luka Doncic thinks about it all differently. The two spent 4 seasons together in Dallas, played meaningful playoff games together, and still talk regularly today. So, when Luka says Brunson possesses a winner mentality that makes him different from other players, he's speaking from years of watching it up close. Recently, NBA legend Isiah Thomas came out to make a statement, placing him and Brunson in a category separate from Steph Curry. According to reports, Isiah Thomas said, and I quote, "Brunson and I, we did it, scoring and assisting. Curry was more just a scorer." And while that seems unfair to Curry because he did more than just scoring, this shows just how impactful Brunson has been this season. But he was only able to do that because on the court, he moved like he was bigger than 6'2". At 6'2", Jalen Brunson shouldn't have access to the scoring arsenal that he has. As for LeBron, he gives credit to New York for recognizing what they had and building on Brunson's strengths.
The New York Knicks have built around Jalen Brunson on what his style is. You know, gritty guys, tough guys, long wing guys, and that's allowed him to be special on what he does. And like you said, being able to score the ball, you know, get to the free throw line. You know, he's a 3-level scorer, being able to get to the paint, you know, use his footwork, things of that nature. We always talk about guys that went to Villanova. That's one thing they're gonna have, and that's great footwork.
The footwork that LeBron mentioned is something that many NBA guards have noticed about Jalen Brunson. Even former NBA guard Greg Anthony sees the exact same thing.
His footwork is as good as it gets. All young kids out there who watch the game, watch Jalen Brunson's footwork. He plays like a post player.
That comparison to a post player might sound strange at first, but it actually explains a lot. You see, most players survive by having counters. If you take away one move, they immediately go to another. If you cut off one shoulder, they spin back to the other direction. They rarely lose balance and almost never rush themselves. Kevin Garnett thinks Brunson does the exact same thing.
He got 7 different ways he can get to that fadeaway. He don't have a crazy cross, he ain't got a crazy range, but man, his weapons as sharp as you can have. He got 7, 8 weapons that is as sharp as you can have.
And Garnett believes Brunson's balance might be even more impressive.
Jalen Brunson has a great balance of speed, strength, and all of it. This is another level of performance, man. If this was anybody else, we'd be calling him Superman and having
the best player to play off.
Hell fucking yeah.
That's what makes Brunson so frustrating to guard. He doesn't overwhelm defenders with athleticism. He overwhelms them with options. Every possession feels like a guessing game because he has so many counters ready. And since he's almost never off balance, defenders rarely know which weapon he's about to pull out next. But there's one particular skill that can't be taught that he used to beat Wemby in 2 different cup finals.
Don't come to me about how tall a guy is, especially like a Jalen Brunson. I want to be able to take his heart out and measure it. Because if you measure Jalen Brunson's heart, he's taller than Wemby, and he showed you every time.
NBA legend Steve Nash also noticed it too. And the reason he noticed it is because he built an entire Hall of Fame career proving that elite athleticism isn't always necessary to dominate basketball. Steve Nash won 2 MVP awards with intelligence, skill, and competitiveness. And for him, Brunson's greatest quality isn't his footwork or his shot-making ability. It's much simpler than that.
Jalen he's first of all, the number one characteristic for me is, and last year is Clutch Player of the Year. This year I believe Shea, last year was Jalen, is his will to win.
That's probably the hardest thing about guarding Jalen Brunson. See, you can study his tendencies or prepare for his fadeaways. You can even force him into difficult shots. But you can't really prepare for someone who genuinely believes they're supposed to win every single game they step on the floor. No one was able to stop him back at Villanova, and now he's doing it in the NBA. And once the 4th quarter arrives, that mentality becomes even scarier. There are players who score a lot of points, and there are players who create for teammates. Then there are players who somehow become more dangerous the closer the game gets. Gilbert Arenas thinks Jalen Brunson is one of those unique players. And Arenas himself made a career out of taking big shots without fear, regardless of what happened earlier in the game. So he knows how it feels when trying to be the guy who closes games.
But Brunson has a skill set that is only given to certain type of men. Jordan had it, Kobe had it. I think Brunson mentally is the closest thing to what Kobe was in the fourth quarter. He can be 0 for 20.
Next shot's the most
In the
important.
last 5 minutes, you already know everything went out the window. It is different. He's going to go 4 for 5. He's going to put the team on his back. And it's hard to find that skill.
When it comes to Brunson, defenders eventually realize that he doesn't carry misses with him. He doesn't become passive. Neither does he ever stop hunting his spots. If for some reason he doesn't find it earlier in the game, you can rest assured he will find it in the fourth quarter. And perhaps that's why even Draymond Green eventually changed his mind about Brunson. Draymond has never been shy about criticizing players he doesn't believe can lead a championship team. But after watching Brunson prove himself on the biggest stage, he publicly admitted he was wrong.
I apologize to Jalen Brunson. I've been very critical of Jalen Brunson, just not thinking that, hey man, he's this 1A guy, because I respect champion. And I've been respected Jalen Brunson, by the way. There's no lack of respect by any means necessary. And who am I to criticize you if you're a champion? And I wanted to say it in front of the world because I've given my critiques in front of the world. So I can tell you to your face in front of the world that I was wrong.
Since leaving Dallas, Jalen Brunson has continued to prove doubters wrong. And every year, he just takes it to the next level. Everyone who doubted him, from Becky Hammon to Stephen A. Smith and Barnes, have all apologized. And it's all because none of them saw this coming, which is even more proof of just how good Jalen Brunson's footwork is. Jalen Brunson doesn't have the size of LeBron James. He doesn't have the explosiveness of Anthony Edwards. Neither does he possess the jaw-dropping handles of Kyrie Irving. But over the years, and with a heart that's bent on winning, he turned timing into a weapon, and confidence into something opponents genuinely fear. That is enough to become a star in the NBA. But then, Jalen Brunson added one more thing. He developed his footwork like we've never seen before, and that skill makes him one of the scariest guards in NBA history. And if you want to see the records he's been able to achieve with it, then watch Jalen Brunson is the only NBA superstar to accomplish this next.